Well, I want to first of all thank you all for being here today. Especially want to thank Paulson Electric for allowing us to start the Climate Solutions Tour here. I also want to thank my Chevy Volt owner, Sara Riley, and my Nissan Leaf owner, Marc Franke. And I want to thank you for being here. So I'm Rob Hogg, I'm a state senator from Cedar Rapids, and this is the start of our Climate Solutions Tour. Climate change is a very serious issue. We urgently need to take action to safeguard our people, our property, and our future from the dangers of climate change. The good news is we have lots of solutions that work. We don't need the Keystone Pipeline, we don't need the Bakken Pipeline because we have so many solutions that work. We've got, today we're highlighting two here. One is the solar panels that you're not seeing on the roof of Paulson Electric that provides roughly a third of the electricity that Paulson Electric consumes here on its site, and also fuel efficient and electric vehicles. We have a Chevy Volt here and a Nissan Leaf here, and the electric vehicle charging station provided by Paulson Electric. These solutions work. We have lots of solutions that work. Solar power, wind power, other renewable energy sources, electric vehicles, fuel efficient cars, rail, walkable and bikeable communities, advanced biofuels, agricultural solutions that build the carbon content of our soil and retain nutrients on the land, investments in natural resources and clean water, and investments in infrastructure to safeguard our people and our property from future extreme events, and hopefully we don't have one on Wednesday. The forecasts are not good on that, but we need to safeguard our people and our property. So that's the kickoff of the event. It is time to act on climate change. I will say one other thing, we need Congress to act on this issue. There are millions of Americans across this country who are acting to address climate change. We need Congress to join the fight against climate change. There are 4 immediate things that Congress could do to help in the fight against climate change. Number 1, reinstate the wind energy tax credit that expired last December 31st. We need that to happen to continue to grow that industry. Number 2, extend the solar energy tax credit before it expires in 2016. We've got to continue to grow the solar energy industry. Number 3, support the EPA's Clean Power Plan. It sets a minimum threshold for all states to meet. Doesn't mean that we can't work to exceed those expectations, but we need that minimum standard that the Clean Power Plan provides. And number 4, we need Congress to support an international agreement that will be negotiated next month in Paris. We need strong support from our Congress for an international agreement on climate change, just like Ronald Reagan acted to address stratospheric ozone depletion with the Montreal Protocol in 1987. With that, I just wanted to invite my electric vehicle owners to make brief comments about, if you're willing to, about your experience with your vehicles. Marc, got an anecdote for me that you can share about your Nissan Leaf?
I do. I've traveled 20,000 miles in the last 2 years without using a drop of oil or gasoline. My all-electric car doesn't even have oil change, so it's been very low maintenance. In fact, I've had 0 maintenance in 2 years. And when I think about the problems with fossil fuels, I think about tanker spills and pipeline spills, all of which don't happen with my car because I make my own fuel in my backyard with my solar panels. So the solar panels never spill, I never have a pipeline leak, and every day the sunshine falls on them and provides fresh energy for my car.
Marc, thank you so much for your leadership with your electric vehicle and showing that we can have a 100% solar powered transportation system. So thank you for that. Sara, how's your experience been with your Chevy Volt? Is it still working?
I'm a little jealous of you, but because that's really great. But let's see, it'll be 4 years ago this November. I was in the market for a new car, and I saw that the federal government was giving a $7,000 tax credit for the purchases of the Volt and other cars. And I no longer needed the station wagon because the kids were a little older, and so that was the incentive. And having incentives like that really make people say, hey, I can buy a new car and I'm going to go energy efficient. And it's great. The longest I've ever gone is 2 months without buying any gas.
2 months.
It would be longer if I didn't have kids at school in Iowa City, or if I didn't make frequent trips to Des Moines, because then it would, most days I never even get past the energy.
Right.
I come home from work, plug in the car, and I haven't yet used gas.
And the difference between the two vehicles, of course, is the Volt has a gas generator when the electricity
Right.
runs out.
Right.
The Nissan Leaf doesn't. Mark, you've had to be a little bit careful about your travel, I would imagine, but
I do.
how has that worked?
The Nissan Leaf makes it easy to know what your range is. It has a GPS system like many modern cars, and it shows you the range you can travel before you need to recharge on that GPS screen. For my long distance travel, I still have a gasoline powered car. We have a Morris Mini Cooper that we drive around the state, and if I drive to Des Moines, for example, I have to drive that Mini Cooper instead of taking the Leaf. But I'm hopeful that over time our infrastructure in Iowa will improve, and there'll be quick charge stations along I-80, and I could drive to Des Moines if I wish to.
Yep, great.
What's the furthest you can go on that without a charge? I mean, how many miles will it go?
It's about 80 miles
Okay.
before I have to charge.
Okay, so you're basically, you can do your local driving in the
Right.
Nissan Leaf without worrying about, but if you're making a long distance trip, you need to use your gas powered car.
Right.
And the idea is with electric vehicle charging stations like this one here, and build those across the state, we can build the electric vehicle infrastructure so that people don't have to have that backup gasoline power. Chevy Volt, not a problem, because when you need gas,
Right,
you can
right.
buy it, and you've got that generator, but you've gone 2 months without
Oh, yeah.
having
And
2
it-
months without having to buy gas.
Right, and I could have gone more if I didn't have to go to Iowa City so often.
Yes.
Or
Iowa City
wanted to.
Iowa City is a good place to go
Iowa
to,
City
Sarah.
is a
Go
wonderful
Hogs.
place to go.
All right.
I enjoy my trips.
With that, James, you got any questions?
Well, how confident are you in Congress taking any action? I mean, the wind production tax credit fight goes on every year, and
Yeah. Well, look, if Congress was working, we would have a long-term strategy to promote wind and solar power and clean energy alternatives like this. It's not working well, but as people speak up, I believe that Congress will take action. We need Congress to act on the 4 issues that I mentioned. We need Congress to act now, right, in 2015. On a couple of the issues, they could go into 16. But we really need Congress to act now. And I think if the American people speak up, I think we can at least make the best case we can that Congress needs to act. And for the good of our country, I hope Congress will act.
Rob?
Yes, Rob.
A good deal of our electricity is still generated using fossil fuels.
Yes.
And so in a way, what Marc is doing is just externalizing that issue. Instead of burning fossil fuel directly in his car, he's just, somebody else is burning it and he's using it through his
Well,
electrical.
No, because he has solar panels.
Well, first
at
of all,
home.
Robin, very important point. Mark did say he had his own solar panels to power his car.
Yeah.
So that's important. But even if, for electric vehicles, even if they're so efficient, even if it's fossil fuel powered electricity, it's still an environmental winner compared to burning gasoline or gasoline in your cars. So we need to promote it. However, one of the nice things that customers in our area of the state have is the opportunity to buy 100% renewable electricity. Second Nature, the Second Nature program. I've been a customer of the Line Energy Second Nature program for at least over a decade. So one of the things that electric vehicle owners can do, if you cannot put solar panels at your own house, the way that Mark has done it, you can say to your electric utility, I want to buy 100% renewable electricity, and they will do that for you. So that is another thing that you can do, and I encourage people to do that. And we continue to need state and federal policy to promote renewable electricity. But the immediate things that we need Congress to do are the ones that I mentioned. All right.
how big an issue is this when everybody, there's a lot of agreement on the need to do something, but there are a lot of other things that need to be done too, and is this high on priorities?
You know what, James, I think this is rapidly moving up the list of issues that voters are concerned about, and I will say that's on a bipartisan basis. The recent polling data showed that the desire for action to address climate change is at its highest level ever among both Republicans and Democrats. Democrats, it was 90% were saying should be a priority. For Republicans, 59% said it should be a priority. Kelly Ayotte, the Republican senator from New Hampshire, just publicly endorsed the Clean Power Plan. I welcome her support for that Clean Power Plan. I think there are growing numbers of Americans who want us to act on climate change, and I think we need to unite as a country behind this, and I'm hopeful that more Republicans will speak up and more Democrats will keep speaking up.
James, I might add that the Citizens Climate Lobby, which I belong to, has grown in just 5 years from 500 members to over 16,000. So that shows you the groundswell of public opinion that's beginning to materialize around climate change issues.
Especially with the young kids. I mean, I have 3 kids. The oldest is 25, the youngest is 21, and this is something they care about.
Citizens Climate Lobby is a nonprofit organization that's doing congressional district by congressional district organizing, and I think it's in well over 300 congressional districts that they have chapters. One other, I singled out Senator Ayotte from New Hampshire because obviously that's a very important national political leader, Republican, who's come out in favor of the Clean Power Plan. In September, 11 House Republicans signed on to a resolution asking for Congress to do more on climate change. I'm trying to remember who there was a guy from New York who was the head of that. Can you remember that, Marc?
Oh boy.
But it's a group of 11. Yeah, it's a group of 11. And one from Florida, one from New York, 3 from Pennsylvania, none from Iowa. And it'd be good to have our Iowa congressional delegation step forward and say, here's what we can do on climate change.
And that group is endorsing action which stimulates the economy and addresses climate change, of which there are many opportunities to do so.
Yep, and that's one of the reasons why we're here. Well,
before you go,
yes.
Rob, I was reading recently, I think it's the Netherlands that has gone 100% on renewables to supply their whole country. And I wonder what stands between Iowa and 100% renewables in electric generation. I know we do close to 30% on wind right now, so we still got. And I don't know whether Marc's solar panels supply everything he needs or not, or whether he still gets stuff off the grid.
Let me tell you about something I do know, Robin. The nation in the world that was the first 100% renewable energy powered nation was the Vatican, and this is before Pope Francis. 2009, Pope Benedict made the commitment to go 100% renewable.
I can say that I'm Catholic, but don't say that on the record.
Yes. Anyhow, but it's something that unites people, and they made that commitment. Pope Francis has helped transform the political debate on this issue in this country. He deserves a lot of credit. Look, the barrier to Iowa being a 100% renewable energy state is the political will of Iowans to make that happen. We have continued to grow solar power in this state. The last 2 years, we've expanded our solar energy tax credits. We need to do more of that, but it's not just about solar energy. It's all the other solutions as well. A recommitment in this state to growing wind power is really important. Other sources of renewable energy like methane digesters. I'm going to be visiting. This is not on my public schedule, James, so here's some news for you. I'm going to be visiting the Red Rock Hydro Retrofit Project at Red Rock Reservoir this afternoon. After going to Pella to visit the green building, the LEED Platinum Green building at Central College. I'm going to be going to the Red Rock Hydro Project. So there's a lot of other renewable energy sources that we can tap if we have the political will to make that happen. And obviously the solutions have to work like these solutions are working for Iowans today. So with that, I'm going to conclude. I want to thank you all for being here today, and appreciate the time. And I'm excited to see these solutions working across the state, and we need Congress to act and the people of Iowa to support further action, and we can solve the climate problem. Thank you so much.
So do you have 100% of the electricity
Thanks,
with
Marc.
your solar panels?
James, do you need anything else?